Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Gids. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. So I recently got a comment on my video where I was talking about Coromandel, a video that I did quite some years back, and someone left a comment about longevity and how they didn't feel Coromandel lasts on them. And I kind of replied to the comment and they replied back. Thank you for your comment, by the way. I hope you don't mind me mentioning your name. I think here it says Greg. And I'll just read what Greg says. And then I wanted to kind of discuss the idea of longevity and perfume and why, for me, longevity is relative. And I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. But let me just read what Greg wrote because it's actually really interesting. So Greg wrote, I have to disagree with his claims regarding projection and sillage. Now the perfume in question is this one from Chanel. This is Coromandel, and this is one of the fragrances which I absolutely love. I still enjoy wearing this, probably don't wear it as much as I used to. I really need to reach for this more. I normally wear this in winter when it's quite cold outside, but for the purpose of this video, I sprayed quite a lot of this on me. And let me just do a bit more. And I wanted to kind of remind myself of, see, for me, this is quite an intense fragrance. Already I'm getting a bit of a reaction because it's so strong. But basically I'll read the rest of what Greg said. So he said, I have to disagree with his claims re projection and sillage. I consider the performance of Coromandel to be woeful, so terrible, especially given how much Chanel wants for it. I purchased it over the very comparable but vastly superior Richwood by Xerjoff, mostly due to cost. Now, I've never tried Richwood by Xerjoff. It sounds lovely, so maybe I need to try that. The 50 ml of Richwood is even more than the 75 ml of Coromandel. Alas, you get what you pay for. True, to an extent. I'm just thankful I didn't succumb to the temptation to buy the larger 200 ml bottle, which is the biggest size. And I obviously wrote back to Greg because it is really disappointing when you like a fragrance, you try it, and it is a bit pricey and it doesn't necessarily give you the performance that you were hoping for or doesn't project. Now, it kind of made me think how important longevity is in fragrances for me. I obviously replied to Greg and I sort of let him know that my particular version of Coromandel, maybe it's my batch, this is quite long lasting, and for me, generally, this will last me a good 6 to 8 hours. It's more nearing the 8-hour mark than the 6-hour mark, but that's kind of, you know, how long I can smell it for. What I mean by that is obviously as the fragrance, as the day goes on, the fragrance becomes less intense, but I can still smell it on myself as I go through the day. And people have also said that they can smell it on me as well. I just let him know, I said, I understand where you're coming from. Maybe I need to revisit the recent formulations of Coromandel. My bottle was purchased a few years ago and does project very well. I mean, I've sprayed it now, and for me, this is a very, very intense fragrance. I don't know how someone within my bubble wouldn't be able to smell me. Again, it could be the formulation I currently have. I mean, I understand that Xerjoff's fragrances, generally for the most part, are very, very long lasting, and it's a different style of perfumery. I do think that Xerjoff's perfumes are very, very long lasting. Now the Chanel Les Exclusives line, a lot of them aren't particularly super long lasting, but are they high quality? Are they beautifully made? Absolutely. This isn't me trying to defend Coromandel. I just trying to talk about longevity. Now let's just generally let's talk about longevity in perfumery and my opinion and take on it. Now, for me, and this might just be me, tell me if you agree, longevity is not necessarily a deal breaker, okay? So if I like a perfume, I go out and sample it. I love the way it smells, but unfortunately after a few hours, I can't smell it. Okay, I will be a bit disappointed. However, I will revisit the perfume. Now, I understand that different perfumes perform differently. Some perfumes smell very strong in the beginning, and then you think, oh, it's gonna last ages. It doesn't last very long at all. An example for me that I have here is Believe it or not, it's Jo Malone's Basil and Neroli cologne, okay? Now, when you first apply this fragrance, to me, this is quite like, it's quite sharp, it's quite fresh, but this doesn't last more than, at most, 2 hours. It's gone within 2 hours. But the projection is there, the sillage is there, it projects beautifully for about 20, 30 minutes. Trust me, people can smell this around you. Whenever I spray this, people do say, what are you wearing? It smells lovely. But it quickly fades. Now, I bought this fragrance because I still love the experience of wearing it, the way it opens, the freshness of the fragrance. And for me, that's absolutely fine. I don't necessarily need to always have a fragrance which is gonna last me 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. Now, I know for a lot of people, the way that they see it, and rightly so, is, well, if I'm spending my hard-earned money, I want to spend it on something that's going to last. And I totally understand that. But please hear what I'm saying. If a fragrance doesn't last for whatever particular reason, please revisit the fragrance. Sometimes fragrances, depending on the season, depending on your skin chemistry that particular day, different factors may not last as long on you for whatever reason. There have been times when I've gone out and sampled a fragrance and I've been like, this doesn't really last very long. And then I've tried it again and it's lasted a decent amount of time. And I think, well, what's the difference? Is it the batch? Is it that I sprayed more? Did I spray some on my clothing? And sometimes when we smell perfumes on other people, for example, my manager at one of the places I work, whenever she wears perfume, you can smell her. Like, I know where she's been because her perfume wafts everywhere. And it's such a nice perfume, but it's very fresh. It is intense, but it's a nice type of intensity. And it's lovely, but that works for her. Now, I don't know how she applies her fragrances. She might be blessed with skin that's very good at holding on to perfume. Maybe it's her skin chemistry. You know, some people are blessed that when they wear perfume, it just lasts on their skin for ages and ages and ages. And for some people, it just doesn't. I don't know why that is. So I would simply say, don't let perfume longevity be a deal breaker. If you love a perfume, try the perfume. For example, another example that I have here is Acqua di Parma. This is Arancia de Capri. This is an orange fragrance, an orange citrus fragrance. Again, this one doesn't last long at all. It's very, very light. I haven't actually worn that much of it, but when I've worn this, for example, when I've wanted something fresh in the morning, like when it's really, really hot, and I put this on, it just gives me what I need in that moment, which is this fresh burst of energy. Now, it might not last more than a few hours, probably like 1 to 2 hours at most, at best, but it gives me what I want. And then I can kind of either reapply it or try something else. Because I'm a true lover of perfume, every fragrance serves a function in my collection. Not everything in my collection is super long lasting. Another example is Terre de Hermes from Hermes. This one lasts me about 4 to 5 hours. But this fragrance is one of my all-time fragrances. It's a classic. I will always have this particular perfume in my collection because I just think it's incredible. There is nothing like Terre de Hermes. It really is beautiful. But that's all really I wanted to say about perfume longevity. Now, I'm not going to get too much into colognes, eau de toilette, eau de parfum, because even that is all relative. There are some eau de toilette perfumes which last a very long time. There are some eau de parfum perfumes which don't last a very long time. There are some extrait de parfums which last an okay amount of time. So the way that each perfume is constructed is very different. You know, each perfumer makes it differently. Brands make them differently. The oil concentration, the aroma chemicals, there's lots of different factors. But all I would like to say is, if you love a particular perfume, please don't be put off because it doesn't last, okay? You can always reapply it. You can always decant it. You can take it with you. You can spritz some on clothing as well. I know some people get the perfume hair products and that helps them. I know some people directly spray perfume into their hair, which I would not recommend, but some people do that. And of course, some people do overspray. You know, if I know a perfume is very, very light, I overspray the perfume, simple, and I will reapply it. You can just get very small decants, you can get them on Amazon, and just put a little bit in, and if that's a fragrance that you're going to be wearing that week, just carry it with you and just refresh it in the afternoon. Maybe when you go out for lunch or whatever, and you feel that your fragrance is becoming weaker, just spritz a couple of sprays, Go outside so you don't choke out colleagues or spray it around people who might have allergies, and enjoy your perfume. I don't know what more to say on this topic. I might revisit it. Thank you, Greg, for your comment on the Coromandel fragrance. I think it's all relative is what I'm trying to say when it comes to longevity. I know there is this trend on YouTube to make these videos about 12-hour plus perfumes, beast mode perfumes, and I'm gonna be honest, it is a little bit arrogant that we have to inflict our perfumes on others. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm a very considerate person, especially if I'm in an environment where I know I'm gonna be kind of very tightly working with people quite closely. I won't necessarily wear an intense perfume. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave me some comments down below. I do read all the comments. Let's have a chat. How important is fragrance longevity to you? And is it a deal breaker if a fragrance that you like and try doesn't last on you? What's your approach? How do you approach that? Yeah, anyway, please do subscribe if you like this video. I am enjoying making YouTube content again. And leave me a like, a comment if you want to, and I will see you in my next video very soon, guys. Take care.